Okay, alright. Okay, we're here. Alright. It's been a while. Hey guys, how you doing? How you doing today? You guys have a nice Christmas? I had a wonderful Christmas. It was very peaceful. Very relaxing. I was home alone. Fam was out. But I had a wonderful time. I made myself a big giant meal. I sat by the TV with some lo-fi going on. I read my book. I watched the snowfall. I cuddled with my cat. It was a great time. Great Christmas. And then I had dinner with my boy Winter. I love that boy. He's a great guy. I had a wonderful dinner with him. I'm finally doing my review on A Clash of Kings because I finished this months ago and I haven't been around to, do a good old video on it. So here I am doing a good old review on The Clash of Kings. Look at this. Look how gorgeous this edition is. I absolutely love this illustrated edition of Clash of Kings. I have all three of them. I have the whole trilogy. Well, there's more than, but I have three of the illustrated editions of this. Sadly, they don't have any more. I don't know why. They only have the first three of the illustrated editions, but it's whatever. It looks good on my shelf. I love it. Beautiful. I just wanted to show, look how beautiful these illustrated editions are, gamers. Like, good God. I saw them on Amazon and I'm like, I gotta snatch those up. We got the first three books. Got Game of Thrones, Clash of Kings, and then Storm and Swords. I'm in the middle of Storm and Swords right now, but good God, I absolutely love these editions. I was having to read in these tiny bitty Bibles, and whenever I was reading out in public, people thought I was reading a Bible. I'm like, good God, if you knew what I was actually reading. That's not focusing, but you get the point. These itty bitty thick Bibles. That's what I was having to read on for a while. I don't mind them. They're very nice, very sturdy. But they're so small that I had to get used to the font size. They're tiny. Like, look how tiny. Look at that. Look how tiny that font is. I had to get used to it. This, though, these big boys. Oh! Also, I need to show you guys something. It's goddamn snowing out here. It's cold. I'm going back inside now. But it's snowing. It's snowing out here in Oregon. Very nice. Here's a better view of the snow. I didn't want to dox my neighbors, so I couldn't really record back there. But yeah, man, it's snowing. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right. All right. All right. How you guys doing? I got my good old Hunt Showdown merch, baby. If you don't got the game, you gotta try it, baby. I got lots of videos coming out here soon on Hunt Showdown. Not sponsored, but it's just an amazing game. You guys should definitely try it out. Anywho, Clash of Kings, the second book in the Song of Ice and Fire. It's basically just the effects of book one. We ended when Robb Stark was going to war with the Lannisters, and then most of the other kings, the 5 kings, that just was like, hey, no, I want to join in. And then second book's all about that. The War of the 5 Kings. We got Stannis Baratheon, the righteous king. My king, by the way. My favorite king. He is king of all. We got Joffrey, who is on the Iron Throne. We got good old the pirates over there in the north. The Greyjoys. They're wanting to kick in just because they're a bunch of pirates. I don't like them. Not a good group of guys. We got Robb Stark. Who, after, his dad was murdered, got beheaded by King Joffrey. He's like, yeah, no, I don't like this guy. And he rose up. And like, who the fuck is the other one? Oh, shit. I forgot. Well, how can I forget? Renly Baratheon. Stannis' younger brother, who's just a little shit. And he's like, yeah, I don't like my older brother. I want to be king instead. So he rose up his own army. So there's 5 kings all battling it out for the throne. And that's the gist of this fat book. But I absolutely loved it. It has a lot of... I honestly love the side characters more than anything in this story. I absolutely love the side characters. Stannis Baratheon's one of my favorite characters, and we don't even get a POV chapter of him ever at all. Zip. One of my favorite characters, though. I absolutely love Stannis. Part of it was the show embellished his personality a little bit more, but Stannis, my boy, My boy Stannis. But honestly, Tyrion Lannister from book 1. He's the dwarf. He's the imp. He's the dude that everyone picks on. He's the main show here. He is by far the main character. He has a good total of 15 chapters, and he's amazing. I love Tyrion. He's a very complicated and complex character. A lot of people think him as the protagonist, and if you look into it, he's not really all that better than his family members. He doesn't really do a whole lot of he tried his best, but he doesn't really do a whole lot of justice in King's Landing. Yeah, he got rid of some, you know, corrupted knights. That's about it. He knows that if he wants to do better in King's Landing, he's got to get rid of his sister, but he doesn't do that. I don't know why. He probably should have. Things would be way better if, you know, Cersei was out of the picture, but he doesn't. He doesn't ever really go against his family a whole lot. He bickers, he moans, he complains about his family. He doesn't ever do anything about it, though. Which makes sense because, you know, kinslaying is also a very heinous crime. And if he doesn't have his family, he's not really anything. So he's in a very big tug of war between what's right and what will protect him. We get Stannis' point of view through his Hand of the King, which is Davos Seaworth, who was a smuggler. He's not a pirate. He was a smuggler. And back in the day when Robert Baratheon rebelled against the Targaryens, Davos helped out Stannis because he was trapped on an island. He smuggled in some goods and some food, and in order to do that, because he did that, Stannis pardoned him, but his punishment for smuggling in the first place was to get his fingers chopped off. Stannis is a just man. I absolutely love Stannis. He chopped off Davos' fingers for smuggling, but he pardoned him. And now he's the Hand of the King. This low-born filth from the bottom of King's Landing became the Hand of a King. Like, Stannis is pretty good. I absolutely love Stannis. He maybe have some, you know, bad influences. If ever anyone's watched the show, like, yikes. But Stannis, if he didn't have the Red Witch, Stannis is my boy. But yeah, let's circle back. Let's circle back to Tyrion, baby. Like, Tyrion is, I think, one of my favorite characters purely because of how misunderstood he is, even to readers and viewers of the show. Well, specifically viewers of the show, because Tyrion's character just after season 4 completely split. Like, I don't even, no. And don't even, if you want the true Tyrion, read the books, because Tyrion's not a good guy. He is not a good guy at all. He's definitely, even George R.R. Martin said, he's the villain. He's the villain of the story. He turns into the imp. Like, he spiritually, like mentally turns into the villain, the imp that everyone sees him as. And the show doesn't do that. He just, after season 4, he just stands around and makes a lot of mistakes. Like, I don't get it. There's a lot fewer Dany chapters in this book, sadly. Well, I mean, I just recently started to like Dany because of the 3rd book. It took me a while. It did take me a while to like Dany, but Dany's starting to grow on me in the 3rd book. The 2nd book was meh. It was still kind of boring to me. I still understand how important she is to the overall story. She's extremely important. But I just didn't like Dany. First and 2nd book. The 1st book was not really because of Dany. It was just most of her chapters, I didn't really get a whole lot about her. And it was just Drogo doing his thing. And I'm just like, not my thing. Sorry. 2nd book though, she's trying to find a place for her people. And that's very much needed in the story. I wasn't really much of an interest. I didn't really find interest in it. It was just boring. I was wanting to grind through Dany's chapters just to get back to Tyrion or Davos. Very few Davos chapters, sadly. I think there's like 3 or 5. Can't really remember. But I love Davos. And Catelyn. Catelyn's another big character that I absolutely love in the second book. Catelyn is Robb Starks' mom, and she plays a big political role for him. And she ends up going to Renly Baratheon, trying to talk up some alliance between Renly and Stannis, so they all can work together against Joffrey. That doesn't really go to plan though. I am going to go to a little bit of spoilers. Things don't go too well over on Renly's side with Catelyn over there trying to talk an alliance, and one of Renly's knights, Brienne of Tarth, great fucking character. I love Brienne. She is so cool. Ends up having to tag along with Catelyn because Renly doesn't end so well. Stannis pulls some really dark moves, and Renly doesn't last too long. So Brienne escapes because she was accused of killing her king, Renly Baratheon, and she runs away with Catelyn back to Robb. And they have a great chemistry because it's just two polar opposites of what women could be in the medieval times. We have the noble woman, and then we have a knight. And not a very powerful knight either. She's not, knights come in all shapes and sizes, but Brienne isn't the prettiest, but she's an amazing loyal knight. She's one of the true knights. In this Song of Ice and Fire in particular really relishes in the fact that knights don't have to be honorable at all. They're just sellswords at the end of the day. They'll do whatever it takes to get the money. But Brienne's a good example of a true knight, and I think that's the point of her character. Her trying to live a noble, loyal knighthood in this world that's clearly not for her. And I love that. I love that so much. Her trying her best to stay loyal and noble. She tries her best in this world, this really grim and dark world. I love that. I love that so much. And then we go back to Arya. I love Arya's chapters in this one. She's trying to live basically by herself. She ends up getting captured by the Lannisters. She's all alone. It's very sad to read. And she gets captured by the Lannisters and then ends up getting rescued by one of Robb's bannermen, which is the Boltons. The Boltons are a nasty group of men who they're not so nice. So Arya never really tells them who she really is, and she ends up being Lord Bolton's cupbearer, which is nice. I thought it was really cool because Lord Bolton is a very creepy figure. A lot of people describe him as like a vampire type dude. He's very pale. He loves leeches for some reason. He's very creepy. And Arya was his cupbearer for a while, which sucks because I watched season 2 of the show before I read the book, right? And I absolutely fell in love with Arya talking to Tywin Lannister. I thought that was so cool because we got a slightly different side of Tywin, and it was just so sick. We don't get a whole lot of Tywin unless it's a Tyrion chapter in the books, which is a shame. I love Tywin. He is a very complex and very sick dude. I love Tywin. He is so complex because, especially when you get into the later books, you find out a lot about Tywin. But here in like the earlier books, he's just a antagonist to Tywin. Tyrion. Antagonist to Tyrion. And it's just, you don't get a whole lot out of him unless it's a Tyrion chapter. But I still felt Lord Bolton being around Arya was cool. I still felt it was cool. I just liked the Tywin scene with Arya better. Later in the book, we get Jaime Lannister, the dude who pushed Bran out of the window. He pops up later. He gets captured by Robb Stark's men, and then Catelyn's not so happy with Jaime because he pushed her son out of a window. And there's some cool conversations. There's some really cool conversations while he was in jail, and she ends up letting him escape for a promise, because Catelyn gets really desperate to see her daughters again. Arya's gone. She doesn't know that she's gone, but she's just gone. Sansa's still a captive, essentially. She lets him go at the end of the book. We get some very interesting moments, because Jaime has some deep, dark demons inside of him. It's very obvious about that. And I just can't wait. When I finished book 2, I could not wait to see more of Jaime, because I find him the most he's an R-rated version of Prince Charming. Really, like, honestly, he looks like Prince Charming, he acts like him. But there's some deeper, darker moments in him that I just can't wait I just couldn't wait. I'm in the middle of book 3 right now, and I've been reading. There's some Jaime POV chapters in book 3, and they're so good. I cannot wait to finish book 3 and talk to you guys about it. It's so good. It is so good, because Jaime ends up becoming one of my favorite characters, because he has some really deep problems about loyalty and honor, and it's so good. And then we kind of wrap up the book with the Battle of the Blackwater between Stannis' navy versus the King's Landing, essentially. And Tyrion steps up. He steps up the plate, and he kicks some booty. He does kick some booty. That little dwarf kicks some booty. He traps Stannis' forces with some wildfire, which is like this. It's like napalm. It's like medieval napalm. And he just wrecks Stannis' forces. And we see two sides between Tyrion POV chapter and then a Davos POV chapter of the battle. And Davos was basically just a horror story, because his sons just get completely wiped with the wildfire. It was horrific to read, but it was sick. It was sick. Davos surprisingly, I think we get left on a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end of the book, because he gets flung off the ship from the wildfire exploding, and then he tries his best to come up, and then we get like a little bit of a cliffhanger of what happens to him. But Tyrion, he was in the middle of a battle on like the beach, I think, on the beach, and then there's like a wrecked ship or something he gets into, and then one of the knights, because him and his sister doesn't really get along too well. Or it might have been someone else. We don't ever get confirmation who did this, but one of his knights, one of the Kingsguard, comes up there, and right behind Tyrion, as Tyrion's like, I think, grasping onto like a wall or something. He's like, "Hey, help! I'm about to fall!" And one of the knights whacked him, and right across his face, his whole nose gets completely chopped off, and he looks even grosser than he was beforehand. And I think that's where we ended on Tyrion. Like, there's like a big cliffhanger that he might die, and he might have died. Who knows? Maybe that's why he's my favorite character. But yeah, that's like the big part of the ending of that book, and it's good. It's amazing. It's mainly about war and politics, and that's the whole series, but this one really focuses on the War of the Five Kings. And I absolutely loved it. I loved the ride, and I could not, when I finished this book, when I finished book 1, I wasn't so eager to start book 2, because I just loved the ending of book 1, but book 2, the way it ends, I'm like, I cannot wait to just catch up on book 3 and just see what happens. And I was originally, when I finished book 2, I was planning on reading some other books, but it just didn't happen. I'm like, I need to start book 3, like a stat, which I shot myself in the foot, because book 3 is like, I think, the biggest out of all of them. It's a fat boy. Yeah, I know a lot of crappy stuff happens in book 3, and I just cannot wait to get into that. But book 2, absolutely amazing. A Clash of Kings, and I got the beautiful illustrated edition. Beautiful. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's basically just a summary. I absolutely I adore this series. I don't really have a whole lot of criticisms, unless it's like personal criticisms. That's my own doing. But no, I don't have any complaints. I absolutely love this series. It's amazing. It's very dark. It's very grim, but it's good. It's amazing. It's a very realistic take on medieval times and fantasy. Because I never used to like fantasy. I never was like... No, that's not true. Like the true genre of fantasy, I love. But I didn't like the crazy fantasy, like Lord of the Rings and that kind of thing. Not my taste. I still want to read Lord of the Rings just because, you know, it's a classic. I want to read it just because, you know, I need to. But that is my review on A Clash of Kings. Amazing book. And it really leads into the third book very nicely. It gives you like a craving to read more. I hope you guys enjoy. You've seen my beautiful face again. I will be back. I don't know when, but I will be back. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I guess I'll just see you later. I'll be back sometime. I got, you know, the tournament stuff going on, the esports tournaments. Catch into that. Come on, join my Discord. It's not. I want to make it clear. My Discord's not a esports oriented Discord. It's just the channel in general. It's just I've been doing a lot of tournaments lately, so tournaments have taken up a lot of the Discord space. But it is just a general channel Discord, and anyone can join it. Have a good time. I'll be doing more book reviews here and there, you know, whenever I finish a book and feel like recording it. Yeah, it's my little side thing. I write now. I study English, and I like writing. Who knows? Maybe you get a little preview of my stuff. Who knows? I hope you guys have a wonderful day. It is snowing outside. I'm just gonna go enjoy a nice cup of coffee and just watch the snow and read a book. I'll see you guys later.